Libra darling, let me tell you this clearly right from the start. You will be rich with these 6 numbers not by accident, but because the universe has already prepared the space for it in your life. You didn't land on this video by coincidence. You were called. Something deep in your spirit, something you couldn't quite name brought you here, right now, in this exact moment between August 22nd and 24th. Why? Because this is the divine window where 6 sacred numbers specifically aligned to your soul's path are being activated just for you. These numbers are not guesses. They are codes, woven into the rhythm of your energy field, each designed to unlock abundance, clarity, healing, and yes, a financial breakthrough. This isn't just a horoscope reading. This is a message of alignment. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Here, we don't chase predictions, we decode prophecies already rooted in your truth. And if your heart is already racing, if your breath just paused for a second, that's confirmation. You are tuned in. Libra, for too long you've been trying to stay balanced in a world that keeps shaking your center. You've been giving your best, quietly, holding emotional and financial responsibilities that others can't even see. And yet, you keep showing up. You keep giving. You keep believing in a future you can't yet touch. That, Libra, is why the universe is responding now. Over the next few minutes, I will walk you through the 6 divine numbers meant for you during this sacred portal, numbers that resonate with your nervous system, your financial story, your emotional legacy, your spiritual maturity, and your physical wellness. These numbers don't just tell the future, they mirror the strength you've built in silence. And here's what's most important. This message is not here to tell you what could happen, it's here to remind you what's already unfolding. You're not here to ask the universe for a miracle. You are the miracle. You just haven't seen the full reflection of it yet. So let me say thank you sincerely for being here. For watching. For feeling. For simply arriving. Every like you give, every comment you share, every time you subscribe, you don't just support this channel. You help co-create a spiritual space where Libra energy is seen, honored, and empowered to rise. You're not a visitor here. You are family. Now tell me, Libra, what sacred number has been whispering to your heart lately? What number has followed you in dreams, receipts, or street signs? Type it in the comments below, not as a guess, but as a declaration. Say, this number is my signal. I'm ready to receive. Let it be known in this space that you are no longer waiting. You are already receiving. And trust me, you're going to want to stay with me until the very last second of this message. Because what the universe is about to reveal to you, Libra, is nothing short of miraculous. Let's begin. There's a particular kind of fatigue that doesn't come from doing too much, but from holding in too much, for too long. If you've felt this recently, Libra, you are not imagining it. The number 17 doesn't arrive with fireworks or dramatic signs. It appears like a soft whisper when the soul is weary, reminding you that rest is not a reward, it is part of your spiritual design. And you don't need to earn it. You are allowed to stop. To breathe. To reclaim your center. Energetically, 17 resonates with the nervous system, which is often the first part of us to respond when life becomes too loud. Sleepless nights, a racing mind, irritability without cause, these are signs you've been giving too much energy to situations, people, and expectations that have silently drained your reserves. The truth is, Libra, you've likely been playing a role that no one sees, the emotional anchor, the silent supporter, the overthinker who still manages to smile. But beneath that grace, you may be running on empty, and the universe has noticed. The sacred tone of 17 asks you to consider not what you do for others, but what you offer to yourself. The constant mental alerts from your phone, the pressure to reply instantly, the endless need to be productive, these habits accumulate in your field like invisible noise. And over time, they weaken your capacity to feel joy, presence, and clarity. That's why this number arrives now. It's an energetic intervention, a divine pause. Even on the financial level, 17 calls out a pattern so many don't see until it's too late, spending not from empowerment, but from exhaustion. Buying things to feel validated, to soothe stress, or to look successful in someone else's eyes. These are not acts of abundance. They're survival responses. And you deserve better. You deserve a relationship with money that feels nourishing, not depleting. You deserve to keep your energy, not trade it for temporary relief. In the same way a field must rest between harvests to grow again, so too must you withdraw for a while from what drains you. And yes, that may mean turning off your devices 2 hours before bed. It may mean saying no when you usually say sure. It may even mean spending a weekend with no plans at all, simply allowing your body to reset its rhythm without guilt. The wisdom here is ancient. Even in sacred scripture, we're reminded that even God rested after creation. Not because God was tired, but to model a principle: completion without collapse. Stillness with purpose. Silence that heals. It's not laziness, it's leadership over your own well-being. So if number 17 is speaking to you today, know this: you are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply full, and it's time to release what no longer serves. Maybe that's a pattern. Maybe it's a voice in your head that says you're not doing enough. Or maybe it's just the permission to stop proving and start feeling again. Pause long enough to hear what your own heart has been trying to say beneath all the mental clutter. You are worthy of care, without condition. Your nervous system is not a machine. It is a living compass, and right now, it's asking for quiet. Listen. Let this number be your reminder that rest is sacred, and choosing it is not weakness, it's a master key to long-term alignment. Sometimes the truth we avoid saying out loud is the very thing keeping us stuck. Libra, you've worked hard. You've been consistent. But if money still feels like a guest instead of a trusted companion in your life, the energy of number 36 is gently stepping in, not to criticize, but to clarify. This number is not about fast gains or lucky breaks. It's about the moment you realize that wealth is not something you chase, it's something you build, and that building begins with your beliefs, your words, and your willingness to speak clearly about what you desire. Energetically, 36 aligns with the throat chakra, which governs not just the voice, but the truth. And when it comes to financial energy, truth is everything. Are you saying yes to underpaid work when your spirit is begging for more? Are you telling yourself, "I'm not good with money," while subconsciously repeating the same spending cycles? Are you holding back from learning something new simply because you fear starting at zero again? These are the questions 36 wants you to ask, not to shame you, but to free you. Because here's what most people don't realize: your financial reality is deeply connected to your emotional courage. It takes bravery to negotiate. It takes honesty to admit what isn't working. And it takes spiritual maturity to say, I don't want more just to have more, I want more so I can rest, give, grow, and live with dignity. That's what number 36 represents, a shift from surviving with money to co-creating with it. And that shift doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your daily habits, in the way you respect your own energy. Every time you spend without thinking, say yes out of guilt, or avoid looking at your numbers because you're afraid of what you'll see, you disconnect from your power. But when you pause, get curious, track what comes in and what flows out, and ask, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? You step into the divine maturity that true abundance requires. There's a quiet teaching I love, and I believe it belongs here. In life, we are not called to master everything at once, we are called to be faithful in the small things. And in today's world, being faithful with your finances, no matter how modest, is one of the most spiritual things you can do. Because it says to the universe, I'm ready. I'm available. I'm responsible enough to hold what I'm asking for. And yes, Libra, that means doing the practical things too, like downloading an app to track your expenses, learning how compound interest works, or finally reading the book on money that's been collecting dust on your shelf. Those actions are not boring or too small, they're sacred. They're seeds. And when you pair those seeds with intention, with clarity, with the willingness to unlearn what no longer fits, that's when you stop laboring for money and start allowing it to circulate. So if number 36 is speaking to you, write this affirmation down where you'll see it often. I let money work with clarity and trust. I am building wealth that reflects who I truly am. And say it not just with your voice, say it with your choices. Watch how your energy shifts when you give your finances a structure that supports you, not just impresses others. This is not about perfection. It's about alignment. And today, Libra, you're closer than ever. Not everything that feels tight in your body is physical. Sometimes, the tension in your shoulders, the pressure in your chest, or the discomfort in your lower belly isn't about posture or sleep, it's energy that hasn't been allowed to move. Libra, the number 5 enters your life during moments like these, when your system is holding too much and flowing too little. This number isn't here to fix you, but to awaken you to something vital. When your body tightens, your abundance does too. When your energy stops circulating, money and vitality begin to stall. And so, number 5 arrives as both a message and an invitation, a call to open the channels again. In astrology and energetic healing, we understand that the root chakra governs survival, stability, and our sense of physical and financial safety. It sits in the base of your spine, but its influence runs through your entire foundation. When you carry the weight of others, their emotions, expectations, needs without releasing or redistributing that weight, this chakra begins to overwork. And just like a blocked river, the more pressure you apply without a channel to release it, the more stagnant and overwhelming it becomes. That's why number 5 doesn't suggest doing more. It suggests moving differently. This is the energy of liberation, of unblocking, of making space. In the physical body, this often begins in the hips and pelvis, where fear, guilt, and financial worry tend to reside. If you've ever had a day where your body felt stiff but your mind couldn't stop racing about money, uncertainty, or not feeling secure enough, you've already met the energy of 5. It lives at the intersection of survival and freedom, and it wants to bring you from one to the other. The law of attraction teaches us that like attracts like, and energy flows where attention goes. But it also teaches a deeper, often overlooked truth: resistance repels what's trying to reach you. When you brace yourself for impact emotionally, financially, physically, you're sending a message that says, I don't feel safe receiving. And the universe listens. But when you soften, open, and move even gently, you shift that signal. You move from contraction to invitation. That's where flow returns. This is where the spiritual wisdom of everyday life matters. There are days when even 10 minutes of mindful movement can unlock something far greater than a whole day of pushing. A walk in nature, a slow yoga flow that opens the hips, even dancing freely in your room with your eyes closed, these are not distractions. They are medicine. Because they give your energy field permission to release what no longer belongs, including financial fear and generational patterns of not enough. And while it may sound simple, it's not always easy. Releasing control when life feels uncertain takes tremendous courage. But what if the miracle isn't in doing more? What if it's in letting go just enough to let what wants to come finally arrive? So if the number 5 is showing up in your field, don't ignore the signals. Don't numb out the tension or override your instincts. Place your hand gently on your belly. Feel the rise and fall. Say softly, I allow money to flow freely toward me. Not as a mantra to force, but as a truth to allow. You don't need to struggle your way into abundance. You just need to stop blocking the door. This moment, this message, this number, they're here to remind you, the life you're asking for is already knocking. All you have to do is move enough to let it in. When certain numbers show up in your life, they don't simply arrive as signs, they come as confirmations. Libra, if you've been seeing the number 44 repeatedly, or if your attention was drawn to it with an unexpected kind of pull, that's no accident. This number holds a frequency so potent, it doesn't come around unless you've earned it, not through perfection, but through perseverance. The energy of 44 speaks to those who have already walked through the fire, who have bent without breaking, and who are now standing in the place where foundation matters more than flair. It is not a beginning, it's a blueprint. And it belongs to you now. In astrology, we understand that numbers carry vibrational codes that align with specific planetary lessons. 44 resonates deeply with Saturn energy structure, discipline, long-term growth. It's not about the overnight win, but about the kind of success that lasts. And here's the truth, if you've reached this frequency, you're no longer just surviving a cycle, you're building the next one. This is the number of the architect, the stabilizer, the one who no longer waits for permission to claim space. But that also means you're being asked to take responsibility for the structure of your life, especially around finances, health, and personal integrity. In the body, 44 is associated with the spine. Think about that for a moment. Your spine doesn't ask for attention when things are fine, but it holds you up all day, every day. It's the core that keeps you upright even when everything else wants to pull you down. That's what this number is reminding you of. You already have the strength, now it's time to align with it. If you've been compromising your values to be liked, or bending over backwards to be accepted by environments that don't truly honor you, 44 asks you to stop. Not out of defiance, but because your energy has matured beyond those patterns. Financially, this is the energy of strategic stewardship. You cannot maintain abundance with vague intentions. If you don't know where your money is going, your power will follow it and eventually disappear. Number 44 asks you to become the CEO of your life, not just emotionally, but practically. Create a system. Rethink your accounts. Track what comes in and what leaks out. Money likes clarity. It moves toward people who know what they're building. And Libra, you're not just manifesting wealth, you're laying the groundwork for a future that supports not only you but others who are quietly watching you lead by example. This energy also calls for what I often refer to as sacred logistics. It's not enough to pray for overflow, you must prepare the containers to hold it. Would a sudden influx of money truly serve you right now, or would it magnify the lack of boundaries and unhealed patterns still in place? The divine doesn't bless you just because you want it. It blesses you when you're ready to manage it with wisdom. Not perfection. Just readiness. So if you've been feeling the nudge to reset your budget, streamline your commitments, or shift your daily rituals, listen. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. You're being guided to create a system where freedom doesn't come from chaos, but from order that honors your energy. Let 44 be your spiritual spine. Let it remind you that you were never meant to chase success, but to hold it. And in doing so, to show others that power doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be true. You've already proven your strength, Libra. Now build something worthy of it. There are seasons in life when we quietly carry wounds that no one else can see. Not all of them bleed, some just linger in the way we hesitate to trust again, the way we second-guess our worth, or how we tense up when something good finally begins to flow our way. Libra, the numbers 2 and 29 arrive now as a sacred pair, a signal from the universe that healing isn't just possible, it's necessary for you to receive what's already on its way. These numbers don't demand immediate action. They don't push. They whisper. And they invite. Number 2 is the soft energy of reconnection, especially with the heart. It's the vibration that brings awareness to all the places where you felt emotionally unsupported, undervalued, or unseen. If you've ever invested deeply in a relationship, in a dream, in a community and walked away empty-handed or betrayed, this number understands you. It doesn't ask you to forget. It asks you to forgive, not for them, but for you. Because as long as your heart holds on to fear disguised as protection, there's no space for joy, abundance, or aligned love to grow. And yes, this includes your relationship with money. Many people don't realize that financial trauma often mirrors emotional trauma. If you were raised to believe love must be earned, you may still believe money must be suffered for. If you were once told your needs were too much, you may now settle for less pay, less recognition, or less than you deserve, not because you want to, but because somewhere along the way, your inner voice started to believe it. That's why number 29 is so important. While 2 asks you to feel, 29 invites you to reclaim. This is the energy of harvest, but not without readiness. The blessings tied to this number are not withheld out of punishment, they are protected until your field is open enough to hold them. If you've ever had something suddenly return to you, a forgotten refund, a lost opportunity, a person who hurt you finally apologizing, that's 29 at work. It brings things full circle, but only when you've let go of the resistance that keeps them stuck. In energetic medicine and astrology, both numbers hold a frequency that supports the recalibration of your heart space and your self-worth matrix. And the most powerful shift you can make in this moment is not external. It's internal. Can you choose to believe that you are worthy of receiving what is already yours? Can you soften just enough to say, I no longer need to prove my value. I am enough, and that's why abundance comes to me with ease. Healing doesn't always look like candles and tears. Sometimes, it looks like reviewing your bank account without shame. Sometimes, it's not replying to someone who once made you doubt yourself. Sometimes, it's writing down 5 things you love about who you've become, not who you're trying to be. These small acts of reverence for yourself send a ripple through your energy field that says, I am available for love that honors me. I am available for money that respects my time. I am available for a body that feels like a home. Let number 2 remind you that connection begins with compassion, and let 29 remind you that every seed you planted in faith is still alive, waiting for the right soil, not the perfect moment. There's no rush. There's only readiness. So today, Libra, be willing to release what no longer defines you. And say quietly to yourself, what is mine cannot miss me. I welcome my return. Because the truth is, it's already walking toward you, healing in hand, harvest in heart. Dearest Libra, this is more than just a message about numbers. It's a divine confirmation that your season of receiving has officially begun. The jackpot isn't something you're chasing, it's something you're finally aligning with. And maybe, just maybe, those 6 numbers weren't given to you by accident, but because your soul was finally ready to recognize them. What if wealth was never about how hard you worked, but about how open your heart was to receive? What if your true breakthrough wasn't something you had to earn, but something you had to remember you were always worthy of? That's what this message was about. This wasn't just a video. It was a mirror reflecting the version of you that already exists in a higher timeline, a richer vibration, a more liberated frequency. If anything inside of you stirred, if something whispered, this is for me, then I encourage you to pause and respond. Not just mentally, but spiritually. Let your energy affirm what your logic still doubts. Because the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to certainty. And by choosing to stay, to watch, to feel, you've already proven that your certainty is growing stronger than your fear. Now the real question is, will you act from that new certainty? Will you begin your days speaking those 6 numbers aloud as mantras of magnetism? Will you start shifting your environment to reflect the abundance you say you're ready for? Will you finally trust that you're not crazy for believing your life can change in 3 days? Or even in 1 breath? Because here's the secret, everything you just heard is only powerful if you apply it. The jackpot is spiritual first, financial second. That inner shift, the one that whispers, I am allowed to be rich without guilt, free without fear, safe without needing to prove anything, that's what unlocks doors money can't buy. And once that door opens, Libra, nothing will ever be the same again. So here's what I invite you to do: pause, close your eyes, and repeat this in the comments below. I am ready for the right number to unlock my divine abundance. Don't write it just for me. Write it for you. For your future self. For the version of you who has already received it and is now guiding you from the other side of the blessing. Thank you for choosing to be here with me. If this message moved something inside you, if it felt like a divine nudge, a wink from the universe, or even a gentle push, don't let it pass you by. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone you love. Because when one Libra rises, it creates a ripple that lifts us all. You've already waited long enough. Now it's your turn. This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and I'll see you right at the door of your next miracle.